At first, he just wanted to skip a night of sleep. No pills, no caffeine, just a stopwatch, a few friends, and the raw power of teenage will. But by day 3, he was forgetting words. By day 5, he was hallucinating things that didn't exist. And by day 9, he wasn't Randy Gardner anymore. This isn't just a record-breaking stunt. This is what happens when the brain is denied its only chance to reboot. This is how you go insane while fully awake. Welcome to Mystery Shack, where reality cracks and the shadows behind the facts come crawling out. If you think you're safe inside your mind, you won't by the end of this video. While you're still here, don't forget to hit the buzz icon and subscribe to not miss our fascinating world. Thank you. Let's begin. The year is 1963. A 17-year-old high school student, Randy Gardner, has a plan that will push the boundaries of the human mind and destroy his own in the process. He decides to stay awake for 11 straight days, 264 hours, to break the world record for sleep deprivation. It sounds like a harmless science fair project, right? But what happens when you push a human brain past its breaking point? What happens when sleep, that essential force that keeps us grounded, is stripped away? Gardner was about to find out. At first, his experiment seems innocent enough. No drugs, no stimulants, just the power of sheer will and a bit of curiosity. He was determined to shatter a world record that had stood for years. But in the days that followed, things took a turn for the worse. For the first 48 hours, Randy Gardner managed to stay surprisingly composed. His speech was slightly slower, his attention a bit scattered, but nothing outside the realm of pulling an all-nighter. At first glance, it looked like he might actually pull it off. But inside his brain, the damage had already begun. By the end of day 2, small cracks started forming. His eyes became glassy. His hands trembled ever so slightly. He couldn't finish simple tasks, like writing his name or reciting the alphabet, without pausing halfway through and staring into nothing. His body was still awake, but his mind had started drifting away. By day 3, those cracks turned into fractures. Randy began to confuse objects, mistaking a road sign for a person or a shadow for an animal. He tried to read a newspaper, but the letters rearranged themselves on the page. His friends would ask him questions, and he'd just blink, completely unaware they'd spoken at all. In one disturbing moment, he forgot why he was awake in the first place. He was forgetting himself. Then came day 4. That's when reality stopped holding together. At first, he saw vague shapes in his peripheral vision, black blobs that darted out of sight the moment he turned his head. But soon, those shadows became people. He claimed to see strangers walking into the room. At one point, he insisted he was a famous football player, mid-game, surrounded by thousands of fans. But he was alone, in a room, talking to the wall. And the worst part, he wasn't scared. He believed it. Now, things take a darker turn. On day 5, the line between reality and delusion begins to completely blur. Randy believes he's playing in a basketball game. He's no longer fully aware of where he is. He talks about his team and his coach as though he's at practice. But there's no game, no team, no practice. It's just him and the torment of his own mind. Day 6 brings even darker changes. Paranoia begins to creep in. Randy's brain is trying to make sense of a world that no longer follows logical rules. He becomes agitated, angry, and violent. He begins to lash out at those around him. His sleep-deprived brain is breaking down his capacity to distinguish between people he knows and total strangers. The hallucinations become more bizarre, faces turning into grotesque, distorted forms. He can't trust the people around him anymore. The distinction between dream and reality vanishes entirely. And as Randy falls deeper into madness, his brain sends the final chilling message. His mind is shutting down. This experiment was meant to be a simple project, a quest to break a record. But there's something deeper here that we can't ignore. As Randy's mind spirals out of control, he's being monitored by scientists, trying to observe the effects of extreme sleep deprivation. They chart his cognitive decline. They measure his physiological responses. They track his deteriorating speech patterns and growing disorientation. But while they stand there, scribbling their notes and analyzing his condition, something else is happening in the shadows, something darker. The effects of sleep deprivation are more than just cognitive breakdowns. They're about identity destruction, the loss of self-awareness. The longer a person stays awake, the more they risk losing touch with who they are. Sleep is the body's reset button, and without it, nothing remains intact. Randy Gardner was just a high school student in the 1960s, trying to break a record. But what if he was part of something much bigger? In the same era, the CIA was running a secretive program called MK Ultra, an experiment in mind control, manipulation, and behavior modification. One of the primary methods for achieving this was extreme sleep deprivation. The goal? To break the people down, strip them of their mental defenses, and make them more susceptible to suggestion and control. It's possible that Randy's sleep deprivation experiment wasn't as innocent as it seemed. Could the CIA have been monitoring his progress, using him as an unknowing test subject in an experiment of their own? Could his breaking point, his mental collapse, have been part of a larger government agenda to manipulate the human mind? Some researchers have suggested that sleep deprivation doesn't just cause hallucinations. It can unlock areas of the brain that can be manipulated more easily. Could the CIA have learned something through these experiments that pushed them to experiment on other subjects, ultimately leading to mind control experiments on people around the world? As the days drag on, Randy's condition deteriorates at a frightening pace. His behavior becomes unpredictable, even dangerous. He's now speaking to people who aren't there. He can't recognize friends or family members. His hallucinations aren't just visual anymore. They're auditory as well. He hears phantom voices that aren't real, giving him directions, mocking him, tormenting him. By day 9, his cognitive ability has been completely shattered. Randy doesn't recognize his own reflection. His mind, desperate for escape, begins shutting off parts of his awareness, forcing his consciousness to flicker in and out. He's no longer in full control of his thoughts. He's no longer in control of his own identity. The mind's fragility is exposed. The limits of human endurance become undeniable. He's no longer a person, but a living shell, a body walking, but a mind that's completely disintegrated. After 264 hours, the experiment ends. Randy is given the longest and most immediate sleep he could possibly need. He finally drifts off. But even after a full recovery, the damage is done. The memories of his days in the sleepless void remain with him. He's not the same person he was before. In the aftermath, doctors and psychologists tried to understand the damage that was done. The permanent psychological scars left by those 11 sleepless days. Randy experienced long-lasting symptoms: confusion, emotional instability, and difficulty sleeping for months after the experiment ended. The effects of prolonged wakefulness didn't just vanish because he finally closed his eyes. To this day, Randy Gardner's experiment stands as a chilling testament to the consequences of breaking the human mind. What is the price we pay when we attempt to push past the boundaries of what our bodies were made to endure? Sleep isn't just rest. It's the thin wall between reality and ruin. And now that you've seen what happens when that wall breaks, you can't unsee it. If this video was interesting for you, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.